I'm your guide, Matt, and welcome to Healthwell, the podcast, where we pour out living water that quenches the soul. So get a cup and drink up. If I sound distracted, it's probably because I am. I recorded this entire episode while staring at the mirror, because self-esteem is all about how I see the one who's looking back at me. It's all internal. Will you join me? Listen to this episode while staring at the mirror. But wait. I'm gonna warn you. This conversation of introspection might get a little bit uncomfortable. Relationships begin with self. Everything in our lives is a form of a relationship. Relationship with family, relationship with finances, relationship with food, relationships with friends. Everything we think and feel is driving the way that we show up in our lives and the quality of the relationships that we have. Because everything is a choice. But are we driving those relationships? Are we the captain of that ship? Or are we the passenger locked away in the trunk along for the ride? I know there are unspoken ideals that our relationships are supposed to look like. But where is the manifestation of those ideals? Our intentionality to attain what we want, how are we measuring up? I have to talk about feelings, thoughts, and choices so that we truly understand self-esteem. So feelings are the alarm system, loneliness, thirst. Thoughts are how we get what we want. Do we call a friend, swipe left or right, get a drink? Thoughts lead to choices. To meet the needs that our thoughts were alerted by our feelings. But many of us are distracted from our feelings and disconnected. But when we truly connect, it's cause for deep introspection. So what I want to do is I want to go with you a little bit deeper to reconnect ourselves and find out how much do we value ourselves? How much self-worth and self-respect do we have? Which in its entirety is our self-esteem. Let's make the first pour into your cup. Regardless of the past, the voices in your head, those negative comments online, that one colleague who likes to make fun of you, but maybe because they're jealous of you. You are deserving of value. It has nothing to do with who your family is, where you were born, or your talents or ability. Self-esteem, positive self-esteem, balanced self-esteem is a state of mind. I know. You listened to last week's podcast, so you know that I'm a recovering egoist. I see you there looking at me like, this is all easier said than done, Mr. Ego-free agency guy. Some of us do suffer from low self-esteem. When most of the images we see of ourselves are negative, and we don't like what we see when we look in the mirror. That system of beliefs replay like a subconscious malware that creates perceptions and attitudes, establishing our self-esteem. But what's your subconscious malware saying to you right now? That voice, is it saying, I'm not physically attractive, I'm not intelligent enough, I'm unlovable, I have to work hard to deserve love, I have to please everyone to get their attention and keep it. But where does this malware come from? Take a minute. Pause this episode if you have to. And let's look back at our lives. Most psychologists say that it happens somewhere between the ages of 3 to 12. That trauma, neglect, the feeling of being unloved, unwanted. Was it a parent, a brother, a sister? Or maybe it was a bully at school, or that teacher that always compared you to everyone else. I know you see that face right now. Or maybe it was that rejection that shattered your self-esteem. That boyfriend or girlfriend, the job that you didn't get, the university that didn't accept you. What did the closing of that door tell you? Whatever it is, the body keeps score. It records everything that happens. And then those experiences tend to play out in our behaviors. Then we mistake behaviors for personalities. And those so-called personalities shape our personal reality, which is built on our self-esteem. Now we value ourselves based on how people valued us. How they valued us depends on who they are, not what our true internal value is. When you were a child, you couldn't choose who your parents were or your family. But once you start to move outside of your home, now you can start to choose your friends. But most people reach for the familiar, and they get caught reliving the trauma of their youth, which reinforces the weight that holds them down in the pit of low self-esteem. Either we are healing or we are recreating. We choose friends and partners that either enable dysfunction or uplift us to new levels, like iron sharpening iron. So the question is, what have you chosen? Let me make the first pour into your cup. Never be with someone who doesn't value you for who you are on the level that you are worth. If you find someone who will give you less than you are worth, nothing is wrong with them. It's just that you haven't found the right place or the right one. When you do, they will know how to value you appropriately. Let me make the second pour into your cup. You teach people how to treat you. You do not need their permission or agreement for you to do what's in the best interest to reinvest in your strongest self-esteem. Maybe this is a point for some self-reflection. Who do you need to get away from that is always belittling you? Why do we always spend more money on our skincare than our inner care, when most of our health illnesses starts in the brain? Health Well's one ask is that you share your cup with someone else. But you can't pour from an empty cup. So let's get rid of that malware and upgrade your self-esteem by refilling your self-esteem cup. I need you to do this with me. Get a physical cup and label it self-esteem. I want you to write 3 to 5 things that you like about yourself and place them in the cup. Now message 4 or 5 friends that you trust and ask them to tell you 2 things that they like about you. Write it down and add it to your cup. Every time those negative thoughts start to play in your mind, you're going to randomly pick a few pieces of paper out of your cup and read them aloud. This is how we start rewriting your story. If you're brave enough, take a picture of your cup and share it with us. We should always share all good things with those that help us to grow. As the Creator says, when you gain, you have to give. When you give, you will gain. And whatsoever a man or a woman sows, they shall reap. So let us not get weary in doing good, because in the proper time, we will see the return on our investments that we are making in ourselves, if we do not give up. Now, how do we strike the perfect balance between ego and low self-esteem? I want to invite you to consider a few questions. This is how we create the golden middle. Are you living your life consciously, in the now? Do you accept yourself for who you are? Or are you always wanting more? Do you need outside affirmation and approval from others instead of finding it inwardly? If you are, you have to take responsibility for your life. We also can't continue to blame others. How assertive are you? What are you willing to fight for? If you want to achieve something that you've never had in your life, you have to do things that you've never done in your life. Do you have a purpose that is serving something greater than you? What about personal integrity, accountability? Do you have a true north? Are you consistent? What do people get when they get you? These are your new benchmarks in rewriting your story and recreating a new personal reality, so that we reveal and resemble the image of our Creator in and through our lives. Matt, and you've been listening to Health Well, the podcast. Our only ask is that you share your cup with someone else. This week, retell what you've learned to those around you. Then join the conversation on Facebook. You can go to Spotify, you can subscribe, rate, like, and review. I look forward to seeing you next week for another edition of Health Well, the podcast.